everyone, it's Laura. I'm so excited I got my hands on the new Distress Archival Inks. My favorite ink to use for 90% of my stamping is archival ink. So I was really excited to see that they were making archival inks in distress colors. So super excited about that because I do have a lot of the distress inks as well, and I do love blending and doing techniques with those as well, but I almost always use archival inks for my regular everyday stamping, but I love the colors of the distress. So it's 2 for 1. Yay! Love it. So what I thought I would do is show you kind of how I organize my swatches of these. I make swatches so that I can, when I'm looking for something to match up with the project that I'm working on, I don't necessarily go by the type of ink to use, I go by the color. So I make swatches of most of my inks. I haven't gotten through all of them yet, but this is basically my little swatch book here. So yeah, that's pretty crazy, huh? This is most of my inks, not all of them, most of them. So I thought I would make some swatches. Generally on my swatches, I have the name and the color, whether it's a dye ink or a pigment ink. And I have 3 different types of stamps here. One's very solid, and then 2 different patterns. I use one with I cross over it with an alcohol marker to see how that ink interacts with alcohol. And the other one, I use water on it to see how the ink interacts with water. Any notes that I have about it, I'll write down here. I also go along the edge of it so that I have a good idea of what the color actually is when I'm flipping through trying to find a color. And then on the back, I don't do this for all of them, but I do it for some of them. I will write down any notes that I have. And let me find some that actually have a better idea. Here's one. I will put any notes that I have up in the corner. I will do kind of like a watercolor technique. I'll take the ink on a block or something and use it as paint to see how it works as a watercolor. So this one here is Lawn Fawn Black Licorice. This is what it looks like when it's stamped, but when I use it as a watercolor, that's how it looks when I do that. These are, I want to see how well it does with ghosting, and whether, this is straight stamp and then 2 stamp offs to see how that is. And then on some of them, let me see if I can find one here. Usually with the distress inks, not necessarily all other inks, but I will try it every once in a while with some of my other inks. If you see this one right here, there is an edge here. Let me find, like if you look right along there, I've edged it so I can see how it looks, the distress looks as an edging. And then also on the back, another thing I will do is down here is show how it blends, how the colors look when it blends. So that's generally what I do. I don't think these react with water. If they do, we'll see it here. But I think the way that these were made are these are archival inks, so they shouldn't respond to water, and just they're archival inks in distress colors. So I'm going to play with these, see how they do, make a couple of swatches. I've already pre-labeled my swatches here for all of these colors. I probably won't go through all of them with you in the video because that would take a while. But I will show you 1 or 2, and then I will either fast forward or skip to when I've finished all of them and show you what I find. Okay? Alright, so here are these. I'm going to be using a few stamps here. My little flower stamp that I used on the back for the ghosting. Right here. That's this stamp right here. You can see how well it's loved. It's all stained and everything. So I'll just keep that on this little block to stamp off on. I also have here these 3 stamps. These are not from Technique Tuesday. I know it's in a Technique Tuesday package. I will try to find the set that these are actually from and let you know in the description below. I just have them in this packet because it was close by, and rather than putting these stamps away and pulling them out every time I do a swatch, I just left them out and inside the package to keep them safe. So they're not from Technique Tuesday. I know it says that, but that's not where they're from. But these are the 3 circle stamps here. So I'll leave the information about these stamps in the description. And let's see what else here. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the alcohol ink marker that I use on here. Depending on the color. If the color of the ink too closely matches this color, then I'll use a different one. But what this is a Spectrum Noir color, or Spectrum Noir alcohol marker. This color is FS3. And I've used it for pretty much all of them, unless it's too close to the color of the ink. So it's just so I can see how the ink interacts with the alcohol. And I think that's pretty much all that I use on these. I do have, we'll be testing it with some water, and most likely it'll be just a regular old paintbrush. But if it's some special fancy paintbrush, I will put the description of that below as well. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm back. I got out my Stamp Perfect tool so that I can do these 3 little stamps. I have my little swatch cards, Spectrum Noir. I just grabbed a what do you call this? A water fillable watercolor brush. I have my little mini stamp, and then here are all of the colors. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with Black Soot. Okay, there we go. Oh, this is also a piece of paper here so I can stamp off if I need to. I also have my chamois to clean off my stamps. And there we go. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take my alcohol marker, go across like that. Take this right here. Make sure there's water in it. There we go. Okay. There you go, that's how it looks. Right there. I'm going to set this aside to let these 2 dry before I do the back. I'll set that aside and do the next one. Or actually, I'll do the bottom of it first. There we go. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second and go on to the next one. Alright, Ground Espresso. Get these out of the way. go. Okay. That one aside dry for a little bit. Close that up. Come back to this one. I'll flip it over. I'm going to take this right here. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay. A couple more times over here. Whoa. Okay, so I just have a block here. I'm going to take this and not on that side, but on this side. I'll smoosh it a little bit. Add some water to it. And yeah, it doesn't like this stuff. So let's see how that does. Nope. Not so good as a watercolor. So let me clean this all off. Pretty sure I've stained my paintbrush now. It's okay. Clean this off right here. Okay, so it's not wanting to come off of this, so let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a paper towel and kind of fold it up. And here I have 91% alcohol. So I'm just going to dab that onto here and use it on here. And it will just kind of wipe right off. So, nice and clean now. Don't have to worry about that. I might try that on my brush too. See if I can get that. Yeah, see it's coming off all now. So I'll have to work on this brush a little bit. So I'm going to change brushes and clean this one in just a bit. But that's how you do that. So now we know it doesn't work as a watercolor, so don't try. Alright, that's that first one. Move on to this one right here. Close this up. Got really distracted there. So that was the black soot. This one's the ground what? Ground espresso. So let's do a stamp off on that. There we go. Close that up. Those two are done. Okay, so these are the first two. This is the black soot right here, and this is the ground espresso. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of these others, but I'm going to either fast forward or kind of jump to the end so you can see how all of them turn out. But this is basically what I do. Alright, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I went ahead and did all of these. So here's all of the colors here. I thought because these are Distress inks that maybe what I should do is show as well how these blend, if they blend at all. So I went ahead and took these, and I've got some Ranger Mini Blender foams, brand new box, and my little blending tool. And on the backs of these, down in this area right here, I'm going to blend them and see how they do. And also along these edges, I'm going to edge it right along there. So I will do 1 or 2 at normal speed, and then either fast forward or jump to the end and show you how it went. This is just scratch piece of paper so that I can blend off. Alright, let's see how we do here. Okay, so there you go. That's how it blends out. And there's the edging. So I'm going to do that to all of the colors. Okay, so now I'm all done. Got my little ink swatches made. I need to label them, of course, but figure y'all didn't want to wait for me to do that. So here are all the colors that I received. So I think I'll just lay them out and then kind of go over the ones that were interesting to me, and then I'll flip them over so you can see the other sides as well. So maybe I'll turn this way. That was one set. Move this over a bit. That was one set. Here's the second set. So one of the things that was really, really interesting to me was, for example, this one, Barn Door. This one was not waterproof. The other ones, well, and this espresso. The other ones mostly did not react to water for the most part. But those two really did, especially this red one. I thought that was interesting. I'm used to, with archival inks, getting a pretty solid impression, like these ones. So this one was kind of weird that it wasn't. And that one's kind of iffy, and that one's kind of iffy, but this one's pretty weird. Now, this particular pad here was really, really juicy. So I don't know if that's it. The other thing, I'm used to getting solid impressions like these, but I'm also used to getting them kind of scratchy looking when you do it like this. So maybe because this one was overly juicy, that's why it reacted the way that it did. As you can see, it's not scratchy down here at all. All of the other ones pretty much are, except for this one. But yeah, so I found that very interesting. I did do the edging on all of these. Hopefully you can see it. All of the edging pretty much was okay. This gray one was a little weird. It just kept flaring off. Kind of weird. I don't know what that was about. Maybe it's the sponge. I don't know. Like, it's typical for it to be like that. But this was like, woo, woo, woo. I don't know. So I thought that was interesting. So let me flip these ones over, so you can see how they did on the other things. So that's how they did for the stamp offs. This one didn't really do all that great for the ghosting. Not bad. This one's really light too, but it's still not bad. I like how this one turns yellow. Because it's more of an orangish kind of color here. But then for the edging, it turned more yellow. And for the blending and the ghosting, it turned more yellow as well. I thought that was pretty cool. But nothing big or strange there. I did notice this one especially did not want to spread. So, when it comes to blending, I definitely like the normal, regular Distress inks over using archival ink. They spread much easier. This wanted to just grab the paper. Like, this one got kind of bent up because as I was, blending it, it just kept grabbing the paper. So, it is doable, but I would say definitely, if you can, just go with the straight Distress ink for blending. So that was this 8. Let me pick these all up and I'll show you the last 4. And here are the last 4. So again, pretty decent impression. Kind of scratchy at the bottom. That's fine. They pretty much didn't really... Well, the purple reacted to water, but only a little bit. It wasn't too bad. Not like the red. The red really went a little nuts with the water. Edging, not too bad. So let's see. Let's flip these guys over. So here's the ghostings. This one I kind of went off the page a little bit. The ghostings there. Not bad. And then there's the blending. Again, they kept just wanting to grab the paper, so it's really kind of hard to blend these out. So that's why you see the circles. But, I mean, in a pinch, they'll work. But it's probably much easier just getting Distress inks. Plain Distress inks. So that's what I discovered with my new archival Distress inks. I'm super excited to have them because now I have some awesome colors in my archival inks. So I hope this video was helpful and interesting. Click like below if you like the video or want to see more like this. Leave me a comment. That would be awesome. Subscribe. That would be great. Anyway, I'll see if I can get some more video out soon. Thank you guys so much. Bye.